Hey book readers, this is the B-Side Book Reviews, and we are going to look at Slowhand, the life and the music of Eric Clapton, one of my all-time favorite guitar players. So, grab some coffee, or well, this ain't coffee, but I'm not one to judge, and we will look at this book about one of the great guitar gods. It's a picture book, kids. A picture book of one of our favorite guitar players. Well, one of my favorite guitar players anyway, and it's only kind of a picture book. It's the life and times of Slowhand himself, Mr. Eric Clapton. Actually, the cover says the life and the music of Eric Clapton. Yes, we have photos that range all the way back to his early years with the Roosters. And then we bend, we slide, and we hammer all the way through the 1990s. Roosters? I don't remember Eric mentioning that band in his autobiography. Wow, this is a detailed book. Oh, but we don't stop there. One of Clapton's claims to fame is all the bands he's played in during his stellar career. And we've got plenty of photos of them all. Yes, we have photos of him with the Yardbirds, the Blues Breakers, Cream, Blind Faith, and photos of him jamming with tons of 1960s and 70s rock stars. We see Mr. Clapton trading licks with George Harrison, Pete Townsend, Ron Wood, Jeff Beck, and Lionel Richie. Wait, Lionel Richie? Really? And of course, there are more photos than you could ever imagine of Slowhand doing what he does best, just playing guitar. We get photos of Eric with a beard, without a beard, with long hair, short hair, and believe it or not, curly hair. Yeah, curly hair. Fear not though, for this is not just a book of photos of the guitar god. Oh yes, there are plenty of words to read for all of us illiterate folks as well. Oh, and the book gives a pretty good biography of the career of Eric, without all the details of him downing 2 bottles of booze a day and all the other rock and roll excess he told us far too much about in his autobiography. This book was more about Eric Clapton, the guitar god, and less about Eric, the hard drinking drug addict. Yeah, I'll take it. Now, it's a book full of photos of one of my favorite guitar players. I mean, what's there not to love? It would be a sin against the gods of classic rock not to love this book. Indeed. What was so cool about this book was to read about all the concerts Mr. Clapton played in with all the other rock stars of the day. And then to see the photos of Eric on stage with the likes of Jimmy Page, Muddy Waters, Robert Cray, Pete Townsend, Jeff Beck, Keith Richards, Joe Cocker, Steve Winwood, Roger Waters, and so on and so on. Of course, at this point in my life, I kind of expected that I would be on stage with Eric myself at times. Okay, things don't always turn out the way you want them to. However, with all of these photos of Eric jamming on stage, I kind of felt like I was there. Okay, that might be stretching reality out just a little bit, but hey, it's my report, so I'll think whatever I want. As I mentioned before, this book gives us a pretty good view of how Eric's hair and clothes have all changed throughout his career. Now, the one thing I wanted him to talk about in his autobiography was the explanation of what the heck was he thinking about back in his Cream days. I mean, just look at that hair. Major WTF. Now, I've been a pretty big Eric Clapton fan for the last, 40 or so years. So anything I can read about the guitarist, I'm going to eat up like a good steak. Now, my friend Julie bought me this book way back in the early 90s. I guess she figured I was a big Eric Clapton fan because I took her to a Clapton concert. Regardless of the reason, it was a great gift. Since then, I've kind of, Clapton myself out over the years. I've read 2 books about Eric, as well as gone through, 10 Clapton CDs maybe. And I've been lucky enough to experience the string-bending, distorted thrill of seeing the guitar god play live in person 3 times now. Now, this is the second time I've read this book, and there's nothing complicated about it. The hardest part of reading this book was trying to hold this big book with one hand while trying to eat a sandwich with the other hand. Now, I do most of my reading at work on lunch. It's just really hard to do. The price we pay for our love of art and rock and roll. Okay, that was Slowhand, the life and the music of Eric Clapton. Still one of my favorite guitarists. I've seen a lot of guitar players over the years, but he still reigns supreme in my mind. It's one of the reasons I bought a Fender Stratocaster. So go read a book or buy a guitar.